Heels versus Babyface. Lovely chap. Spoke with him a couple of years ago. Don't know if he remembers me. But he got himself into a little bit of a pickle. He made a very viral rant that many people were upset of him for making. However, now it's resurfacing and most people are agreeing with him, so who's in the right? Heel versus Babyface decided to do something that I wouldn't want to inflict on my worst enemies, and that is to play Starfield. So he plays the video game Starfield, and he notices the trademark, the hallmark of California Western video gaming. That women look masculine and are butt ugly. Like the women in Starfield, I would say, look worse than heel versus Babyface. Like, if all women in real life look like the ones in Starfield, I would unironically say that heel versus Babyface is very attractive. Because you have to compare with something that exists, right? So that was like his first encounter. But hey, it's a Bethesda game, right? Like, Bethesda game has to make women ugly. I mean, they have the resources to actually make good characters. But it's Bethesda. They are forced. They are compelled. They're like Eren from Attack on Titan. He has to do the rumbling because that is the destiny. So he didn't really complain that much about the fact that the female characters are but ugly. But then you play the game and you start noticing things. Like in 2024, if you're a content creator, you cannot notice things. Like, it is not allowed. It is against policy to notice that the leaders of many of the factions from Starfield lack inclusivity. Almost all of them were women. It was like an HR department going around there. You know, and he just points out, it's like, okay, it was like he was able to predict the future. It's like, you're going to be this faction leader, and he was like, it's a woman, isn't it? And then it was like, oh! Like, there's a clip from his stream that I found very hilarious, where you have like this woman, which by the way is like a little bit more beautiful looking than all the others, not by much, but it's coming to you and it's like, I have something to tell you, something that I haven't told anyone. And heel versus Babyface, like, you're a man, aren't you? And then the NPC goes, I am the clone of a man that it's like, but like, he hasn't played the game, okay? He hasn't played the game, and he was knowing the story before the NPC would open their mouth. Like, how did he do it? How did he do it? And I assume he was getting a little bit upset at this point because he actually waited for this game for a while, paid a lot of money for it. I think it was $70. And then you find out that the story is predictable, boring, bland, the aesthetics are ugly. Even the gameplay wasn't that great, not to mention the bugs. So the man goes into a rant. Now he's an entertainer, so the rant has to be entertaining, right? Like, he raises his voice, like he speaks in a way that content creators speak, and you don't really speak like this in real life, but you gotta exaggerate a little bit for the camera, right? And he talks about, it's like, oh, the game is current daying me with current day issues, fucking pronouns, right? And that was the clip, that was the viral clip that everyone was upset. It's like, why do you care about the pronouns? Oh, why do you care? It's interesting how, like, when the pronouns are being removed, Nexus Mod not only cares, but no one asks Nexus Mod, why do you care? And it's also interesting how all these competing companies, like all these gaming companies that are supposed to compete with each other in order to take your cash, they all make the same decisions in lockstep. Body type A, body type B, ugly women, pronouns, even if they don't matter. Like, you're asked the pronouns at the beginning of the game, and they don't get to use them at all. Like, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't, like, you know, back in the day, if you played a male or a female character, you got to experience, like, different lines of dialogue, and the NPCs would treat you differently. Here, it doesn't matter. And not to mention, you know, like, I always wondered this. Like, if you're a transgender person, so you're a man that identifies as a woman, if you play a game, wouldn't you just play the game as a woman? Like, why would you play the game as a man that identifies as a woman? Like, you believe you're a woman, right? Like, you believe 100% that you're a woman, so, like, why would you even need pronouns? You just play the game as a woman. But the question is, like, why are all these decisions happening across the board at the same time? And you get to notice that it becomes even more strange when a very rare skin disease called vitiligo is now all of a sudden in all these games that are coming out. It's in Diablo, it's in Baldur's Gate, it's like all of a sudden it's like all these companies are talking to each other and it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, when I was in high school and I was doing my homework, imagine if everyone came up with the exact same homework, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you making stuff differently? So this is what heel versus babyface was noticing, and this is what pissed off a lot of people. I mean, look how much it pissed off the Act Man. The Act Man, right? Like, he wasn't just complaining that heel versus babyface is upset about the pronouns. He had to insult him. Like, he had to give an emotional response. He had to call him a gorilla-shaped man. Like, this is uncalled for, isn't it? Like, what exactly did he do to you personally? Like, heel versus babyface never insulted the Act Man. In fact, I'm pretty sure when the Act Man got suspended, if I remember correctly, heel versus babyface actually talked against that. Many other people did, right? Which is why a lot of us were dismayed when he behaved like this. And again, it's like, well, the pronouns are never brought up again. It's like, okay, so if they're never brought up again, why are they in the game? Why is Nexus Mods freaking out and splurging out when people are making mods to remove them? Why are they so important? And if they are important, why can't we talk about them, right? And the reason you can't talk about them is because you notice that consultant companies like Sweet Baby exist, and they're the ones that are influencing AAA gaming, and they're the ones that gorge themselves with food from my money when I purchase their shit. And it's all done for investor reasons. Now, apparently, the Act Man found out about this today, because allegedly he has a life and he doesn't have time to be terminally online. Which begs the question, where does he get his info from? Like, in order to make videos from his channel, you have to be online. You have to get your information from somewhere. It is next to impossible that you never heard about ESG up until today. Even the normies now know what ESG is, which is why it's becoming toxic as a brand. But anyway, he says that he started looking into this Sweet Baby stuff, and he cannot fathom why game studios would hire a narrative consultant group. Isn't that what lead writers are for? Why not just hire a better writing team and keep it in-house? Lemao. So people tell him, it's like, well, it's about the investors. And they're basically, oh, so it's to get a better social credit score. Oh, I think I just swallowed my own vomit. Interesting. Is AZ going to get an apology now? Because literally what he is complaining is about the writing of these consultant groups. Like, if he had his way, if people were outraged, like if everyone was outraged at the time over the pronouns, then there would be a backlash against the consultant groups, because they are the ones insisting that the pronouns are there, even if, as you pointed out, it has nothing to do with the game. Because those consultant groups, they have a social agenda. They don't really care about making the game better. They don't really care about anything like that. All they're caring about is like what they learned in gender studies and how they can push those ideas onto the masses. And most of the time, it is at the detriment of the story of the game. But anyway, right, I don't think that AZ is going to get an apology. Many people are accusing the Act Man for waiting up until the subject is popular to be able to talk about it. Because up until now, you could have spoke about the SGs, but, you know, no one would be on your side. However, now it's popular to talk about Sweet Baby, and the left and the right agree that they're bad for the brands. So now it's okay to talk about it, to get a lot of views. Now all the trending topics, everything. Interesting. I for one, have been talking about it for 3 years. But it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.